your Miami Dolphins, they are gearing up for a quick turnaround, Leroy, against the Baltimore Ravens. And to describe the Baltimore Ravens in relation to the Miami Dolphins, they own the Dolphins. I mean, like, it feels like every time these two teams link up, it's an ass-kicking waiting to happen. We, of course, remember the infamous 59-10 game to open up the then tanking season for Miami, where we were all like, oh, this team's going to be historically bad. That was, Hollywood Brown. I just remember him running all over the place. And then Minka Fitzpatrick quit. He decided to go play for the Steelers after that. So they play this Thursday. And don't know yet if Tua Tagovailoa is going to play. That's still up for debate. They are going to practice tonight, which is kind of weird. They have a night practice tonight to get ready for this game. And Brian Flores yesterday talking about the importance of availability for a player. Here's what Flo had to say.
Look, availability is a big part of playing in this league. I think that goes without saying. I think our guys, they work hard to in the off season, in season, nutrition, sleep, strength training, to do everything they can to withstand the rigors of an NFL season, NFL games. So, and we need as many able bodies as possible to play in this league. So, obviously, it plays a role, but. Again, injuries happen in this league. That's just part of it. I mean, I think we all understand that at all positions. Every team's dealing with them, and that's why we spend so much time on the guys who were backups to prepare as if they're going to be in there, because oftentimes that ends up being the case.
All right. So he's saying that availability, it's a very important thing. Now, I gotta tell you, Leroy, a lot of people were on board with us with this Tua Tagovailoa. A little bit of fishiness going on with his injury. Little bit of fishiness.
Did you see that swollen finger?
Yeah, swollen schmollen. I don't like the explanation of, he couldn't make all the throws. What was the furthest throw in that game was what, 20 yards? Get the hell out of here, furthest throw. So he was asked yesterday by David Lang from WPLG. He was asked about if he doesn't feel like they're going to get enough time to evaluate Tua if he keeps missing games. So here's Flo in his response. And check out this little do-si-do that he throws out there.
Now, do you think specifically with Tua, is there a concern whether he plays this week, whether he doesn't play this week, is there a concern that you may not get enough of him on the field this season to give a proper evaluation of what he can be for this team moving forward?
I think Tua's a tough kid. I think he does everything he can to be out there. He's had a couple unfortunate injuries this year. But when he's been in there, he's played well. And look, he's a tough kid. He wants to be out there. He's going to do everything he can to get out there.
Now, if I may,
answering the question, Leroy.
He didn't answer the question. But I always think of this. You're going to have a hard time evaluating Tua with that O-line you got in front of him getting him killed.
Oh, my God. The O-line.
Can you acknowledge that before you start talking about specific players?
The O-line numbers coming out for this team are just disgusting.
You lead the league. You have 3 linemen that lead the league in a stat, and it ain't the good one.
Nope.
But here's the problem. The problem is that even knowing that, you think anybody will be less critical of Tua?
No, I think that I think everybody knows. I think this staff knows, and this general manager knows all of the headlines that surround him, all of the scrutiny that surrounds him, and them picking him and not picking Justin Herbert now, and all that stuff. I think that's why they're trying to build this narrative wall around him as much as possible. Oh, you can't go. Oh, the finger's messed up a little bit. Don't push it, Tua. We're saving you from yourself. But really what they're doing is they're saving them from themselves, because what they're going to do is they're going to build the fan base around Tua by saying, oh, fragile Tagovailoa can't get out there because of his finger. I'm on to them. I know
They're
what's going
not
on
like
here.
you, though.
Oh, they're not?
I mean,
No,
really?
because here's why. Here's why. Let me explain to you why. Because if you were in the same situation as the Dolphins, you doubled down on Tua. You wouldn't cut bait. You wouldn't be rats off
I'm a man of honor. That's why.
You would. Don't put a screeching halt to the show with your comments.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? You know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean.
Man of honor.
Man of honor.
You fought in Afghanistan or something?
No, I'm a man of my word. You know, I stick by my principles.
Mm-hmm. We don't need you to stick by your principles. We just need you to stick by your words.
I stick by both.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Sure.
That's what I do.
Anyway, so the problem is, and this is why I'm mad at the Dolphins, because it has nothing to do with Tua. Okay? The reason why Tua won't be the quarterback for the Dolphins would be the same reason why he shouldn't have been drafted in the first place. And that was the injuries that we all pushed aside and said no bigs.
Yep.
Okay? For that reason, it was a bad pick. Because if you had questions about his health, I personally don't ever want to draft a guy that has to sit out a year with the development that's required of certain positions.
All of those concerns about his durability were there when they
before they drafted him. Correct.
And now it seems like they're using them as an escape hatch.
Correct.
I don't think they get called out on it if the answer to that is, hey, we went and got Deshaun Watson in the offseason because we couldn't trust Tua's availability anymore.
Couldn't trust him because of you. Your bad decision.
It's really bad.
It's terrible. Line. You can't, dude, that is basically talking from both sides of your mouth because you swore before the draft that the injury thing was no problem. And now the reason why you're going to run him out of town is because the injury thing is a problem. Make up your mind.
We have a text in from Chris Greer that says Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see you, Chris Greer. I know you're texting in, trying to build that narrative. That's why you're not a man of honor like me.
This team capturing our imagination ever since LeBron left.
Capturing our imagination, like Stephen Ross said.
Hey.
To give some context to what Leroy was saying about this offensive line and how piss poor it is. Look at this. So this was a stat I saw put out yesterday by Smart James, 1981. You go follow him on Twitter. He's got some good stuff that he puts out there at Smart James 1981. He puts out this ranking of every offensive lineman in the NFL. This is crazy. The Miami Dolphins have 3 guys all tied for first in most pressures allowed. Liam Eichenberg, Austin Jackson, and Jesse Davis all led the league with most pressures allowed, 37. Crazy. And to boot, Leroy, the Dolphins as a whole have allowed the most pressures in the league by 47. That's their lead. That's their margin. 234 to 187, according to Pro Football Focus. That's how bad it is. I sent Leroy a video too during the break, and it was do you remember this stunt, Steve, during the game where they go to the sidelines and the reporter, she's talking about, all right, you see Jacoby Brissett really rallying the troops there, really trying to bring them together. And then all of a sudden, the next play is just Jesse Davis giving up a big old sack on Jacoby Brissett, and he looks like he wants to fight Jesse Davis right then and there.
Right as you were telling me, I was watching the video. That's why you saw my reaction.
It's
impossible.
On,
you can't play football with this offensive line.
But here's my other question. Why are we so tied up on quarterback when you have that in front of you?
It's a good question. It's a good question.
And it's not, look, let's be fair. It's not just the Dolphins. They do this all over. But sometimes they give valid explanations. Hey, this guy's not getting any protection. He doesn't have time to throw the ball. It never happens here. You literally have one of the worst offensive lines in football. At least 3 of them. The other 2 guys are getting swallowed up by bad play.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to sit here.
Don't forget also, they've had a new center like every week, so he can't be in the rent. They can't. That guy, that's the only new guy they put out there. The only guy you don't see on the list is Robert Hunt, who, I mean, they moved in position for some reason. They decide, listen, you a rookie, right tackle. Not for you. We're going to put Jesse Davis out there.
Right.
Figure it out for me. I don't know, man.
But at the end of the year, when it's time to evaluate Tua, that won't even be mentioned.
Doubt it. Highly doubt it.
Why? Like, sometimes to get to the answer, you need to be honest about what the circumstances were.
Well, that's why I think that they're building this narrative, because they're going to be rats off a ship on him. And that's going to be a very fair thing for people to say, hey, he didn't really get a fair evaluation with the offensive line. And they're going to say, yeah, but remember the finger games that he missed?
Here, you want me to say something? And you can take this to the bank. If that is going to be your reasoning for getting rid of Tua, there is no worse way to say we made a mistake. We should have took Herbert.
Well,
no.
Here's the thing, though.
If the one thing that people had questions about a player is the reason why you get rid of that player.
But this is like Chris Greer cheating on his spouse, and what he does is he buys him the $2 million engagement ring. And in this case, I'm going to go trade for Watson, or I'm going to get you Russell Wilson. Like it's going to look over here.
No. Damage is done. Okay. If the reason why you're getting rid of a player are the same concerns that everybody had before the draft, that was a bad decision by you. And in a draft where they had a number of other options, bad job. That's a bad job. I don't care how you try to make it right or fix it or whatever. You have basically said to everyone, if you make that move and get rid of Tua and say he needs to be available more, you have basically said, I screwed up. We should have paid more attention to the injuries.
We'll take a quick break. We'll hear a little bit from old Flo on this offensive line. Whew, it's bad. Here's Brian Flores yesterday. Now, the Dolphins' worst O-line in the league, allowing more pressures than anyone in the league by nearly 50. Here's Flo talking about what kind of fixes could happen to the O-line. That's what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, every week we look at, the group, evaluate it. But we got to do a better job on the offensive line. We got to coach them better. They got to play better. So we'll look at, areas to improve that unit. And, those guys you mentioned, they're part of those conversations for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Leroy?
Yes. It's your show. You don't have to raise your hand.
I would like to respond to that. And you think coaching up these bums is going to make them play better? You've been trying to do it for 2 years.
Coach them up.
Like you're going to get in there. Look, if your technique is so good, put your suit on and go in there and block, because they ain't doing it. I don't know why. I mean, I have never seen – there are plays where the offensive lineman, before he even attempts to block, the defender is past him.
Yep.
What game is he playing?
It's like there's none of these disguised things. Like you've seen videos of just like Austin Jackson, dudes just in front of them, blew past him.
It's not a situation where they run a game and the guys haven't worked well together, so they're not tight and close together, so a guy hits a crack. No.
You almost wish
They're all lining up behind him like pass rush drill. I want some of him.
I don't know. Excuse my ignorance on how many backup linemen you bring to a game. Do you usually know how many backup linemen you typically have during a game? Is it like
you
3?
You bring in probably have maybe 3 extra linemen, 4.
Okay, because I would like for one time, like after the first mess up, can he do like Greg Popovich does? Remember when Greg Popovich, if they
take
just
the whole O line out, take him out,
replace him with a new 5.
Hey, in theory, that sounds great.
Maybe we should start that.
But no. Hold on. Because we need to stop this madness now.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, that sounds great. But you're assuming that the guys behind the guys starting are better.
But Leroy,
It's not like
how could it be worse?
Wait. There's no Tyler Heroes of the offensive line. There's no 6th Offensive Lineman of the Year award. Okay?
There's no offensive line.
The reason why they sitting on the bench watching, because they're not as good as the 5 that are on the field.
I thought that's actually what Jesse Davis was. I thought he was 6-man O lineman, and then all of a sudden he became franchise protecting your blind side.
Here's what the meeting went. Hey, we're giving up a lot of pressure on the O line. What are our options? Well, we can give Jesse Davis a run. What the hell?
This was great. So I was listening to Godsey. He's OC1, I think. He was saying this yesterday. This blew my mind because he was asked, like, why aren't there any changes on the O line?
I thought Stoozville was number 1.
I don't know. You know what? I'm confused, Stunt Steve. I don't know who's who, but this is what Gods had to say about why there's no changes on the O line, because they have a way to determine it each week.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at it week to week. We look at it day to day. As far as those positions are concerned, and every job's earned in practice each week. And by Sunday, we're putting the group out there we feel best about, being able to help us run the ball, protect, throw the ball, catch, whatever position it is. So that's a day to day deal. That's part of our culture here as far as competition goes. And
culture.
I think that there's a lot on everybody, to maintain your position or to win a position. So it's not just the O-line; it's all the positions where that takes place.
Okay. Now,
oh man,
let's chew on this for a minute. What is now? Does anybody remember my rant about offensive linemen?
Yeah, you broke FCC via
check the history of bleeping football.
Yeah,
correct. How offensive lines are built.
Yep.
So imagine my surprise when a football guy talks about changing the offensive line every week. Do you understand how mad I got about offensive line moving around? And now you have a guy who runs the offense that is talking about moving the offensive line around and earning a position every week. This ain't Fight Club, dude.
Well, I mean, but the problem is nobody seems to be earning new spots. Like, that's like, I want somebody to earn a new spot. I'm sick of this O-line.
It is not the offensive fault that the person who brought in offensive linemen didn't bring in good offensive linemen. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you got a whole room full of offensive linemen, you can't find a couple of them that can block. You got 3. And here, think about this. Do you know how hard it is to have 3 guys the worst in the NFL?
All of them.
Out of 5. You got 3 of the worst.
That's crazy.
Me and you could go out there and play O-line.
We could be the worst. We could be the worst.
We could be the worst.
You, me, and Stunt and Steve, we could be the worst.
So, here, let me ask you a question. Let's do the other side of this.
Sure.
How great is an offensive line that has 3 Pro Bowlers?
Great.
Remember the Dallas O-line?
Of course.
That's all I can think of. Dallas. I don't think of Dallas O-line. I think when I was in Minnesota, we had 2 at one time.
Yep.
Which is unheard of, right? Because you're talking about 5 offensive linemen on 32 teams. You got 3 guys that are elite to the point where they name Pro Bowlers.
Well, the Colts line a couple years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you see how rare that is. How rare is it to have 3 of the worst? Do you understand? It's easier to be bad. You have 3 of the 3. 1, 2, 3. You only got 5 linemen.
Yep.
You have 3 that lead the league in quarterback hits, rushes, batted balls, all of the bad stats. And you wondering why Tua is coughing up blood and his ribs is broken, fingers broke.
2 of these guys haven't even played all the games.
And you're still right. So hey, you gave the rest of the league a head start and you're caught up. So, like,
this is so depressing.
You can say whatever you want about your quarterback. Can we talk about this? Can we discuss what this man has in front of him? I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry, offensive coordinators.
All of
I'm
you.
sorry. I'm sorry, Jalen Waddle. You know why? I see why you got to run 2-yard routes. You run a 4-2 and they running your 2-yard comeback.
You got no shot.
You got no shot.
You got no shot.
Because you got the 3 stooges in front of you, yucking it up while the defense just run right by him.
Take a break appropriately. The damage is done, my friend, is next.